Hey there! Today we're going to be talking about a Wancher pen, and this is the Kiei. And it looks quite interesting. It's a slightly larger pen, but what makes this really special is what you see here. That leaf, that I will show you again when I point the camera down, is an actual leaf that they process and they put on. Kiei, Ki means seasons and A means reflection. I'm just reading from my notes because I don't speak Japanese. But these pens really embody that, right? Because they have leaves built in, which I think is really, really cool. So I'm going to cover the parts of the pen. I'll do a writing sample and I'll tell you what I like about it and what I don't like about it. Oh, by the way, this pen was lent to me by my main man, B.R.E. So thank you. Let's get going. Okay, let's talk about the Wancher Kiei. I don't have the box. Usually the Wancher pens come in nice wooden boxes. This is a Tianzi box, but something like this, so sort of like a pine wood or something box, which is quite nice. I actually don't know if it's pine wood. I just made that up. The Kiei, $499 US. That's what I saw on the Wancher website. I do think that was a prototype, so maybe the regular ones are a little bit less expensive. In any case, steel, extra fine, fine, medium and broad nibs, as well as 1.1 and 1.5 millimeter nibs, so you have quite a range of nib options. And they can also upgrade for $150 extra to an 18 karat gold medium or broad nib. In this case it's the broad. Again, that does increase the cost of the pen to, I think, $649, quick math. Let's talk about this pen. What is special about it? Well, Kiei, Ki means seasons and A means reflection, as I understand it from the Wancher website. I don't speak Japanese, sorry. But what's interesting is that they take an actual leaf, or in this case, two leaves, and they put that through a process where it gets dried, it gets steamed, it gets pounded to become very thin, and then it gets lacquered onto the pen, right? So it's actually put onto the pen and lacquered over, so it becomes part of the pen. I think that's very interesting because that does mean that you really deal with seasons in this particular pen. The pen uses an ebonite body, which I'm thinking is the same as their Dream pen, because it certainly looks like it has the same proportions. Ebonite is nice and light and quite comfortable and warm to the touch, even when it gets lacquered over, so that is quite nice. It's also a somewhat larger pen. As you can see, it's by no means a small pen, which, come to think of it, I should show you this next to a Pilot Metropolitan, which you can see here. And as I said, this is definitely a larger pen, both in girth and in length. When we uncap the pen, which by the way seems to have a spring mechanism inside of it, which does seem to keep the nib nice and wet, you see the actual number 6 nib. In this case, 18 karat, solid gold, broad, laser engraved with the Wancher logo. It says Wancher and it says 18K 750 and B for broad. A feed that is interesting. It almost looks like this is ebonite. I couldn't find whether it is online, but this does not look like a standard plastic feed to me, so that's quite interesting. The section that tapers down and flares out a little bit, and then we have, just opening it up, a cartridge converter. I don't know what ink is in it because Mary gave me that, but there we go. Note, ebonite, beryl and metal threads tends to make me a little nervous because over time the metal could wear out the threads on the ebonite. So maybe don't screw and unscrew that the whole time, as some people tend to do when they use their pens as a fidget spinner. Okay, I think what we need to do is see how the pen writes, and we can do that right here, right now. Wancher Kiei, broad, 18K, and the ink is an unknown. The pen is a pleasant writer. It is not an ultra smooth nib. I find that it offers some feedback, but it is the type of feedback that lets one know that one is using a fountain pen. And I always think that that is quite pleasant, but some people want glassy, smooth nibs. If that's what you want, then this is maybe not for you. We also typically say that Japanese nibs are one grade finer than their European or Western counterparts. And that seems to be the case here. I'm not sure I would classify this as a broad nib. To me, this feels more like a medium. But to each their own, not necessarily an issue. If you like broader nibs, probably get the broadest one you can. Remember, there's a 1.1 or 1.5 millimeter stub, just not in solid gold, right? Okay, let's look at the wetness of the pen. Definitely a nice wet writer. Line variation. Well, there's not a whole lot. In natural line variation, it's pretty roundly cut, but as you can see, you can definitely, and of course very carefully, but you can actually squeeze out some line variation and add a bit of character to your writing. For those of you who enjoy such a thing, there is always reverse writing, which with this pen is certainly possible. It doesn't become super scratchy, and there does seem to be quite a bit of ink flow that remains, so that is quite nice. Having said that, I think what we need to discuss next is what I like and what I don't like about this particular pen. What do I like? What do I not like about the Kiei? I think there is a lot to like. It's a larger pen, but it remains very comfortable. I find it a very, very comfortable model to use. I also find it a pleasant writer, which helps. After all, you purchase a fountain pen to write with, I would hope and assume. It works well. This pen body is a good model they use. I think they use a similar shape and size for their Urushi models. It works. Pleasant, comfortable, large without being obscene. It's very good. As I said, pleasant writer. Now, what I like about this is that this particular model is that with these leaves, quote unquote, built in, actual leaves, this is a pen model that actually honors its name. It actually embodies the changing of the seasons by incorporating leaves like that. I also think it's a really cool technique, and I do understand how that would drive up the price of the pen. And if you understand that it's then only $500, $499, I know that's a lot of money, but this is not the type of pen that just comes out of a machine. Actual handwork is involved in preparing the leaves, in putting them on the pen, in the lacquer work, all that stuff. And that, I think, you have to take into account when you think about this price. I think that is a fairly fair price for what you actually get. So it is expensive, and you could list that as a con. I don't find it a con because, as I said, there is a lot of handwork involved in this. The final thing that I don't like so much is really not a great argument, but I will say they're a little hard to get. They sell out. So if you're really looking for one, that can be a downside. They're not that easy to get. You can't pick them up from the street or pick them up while you're on the street, as we would say, because they're not available that much. So check out the Wancher website if you really want one, if they do another run or whatever. But that's what it takes. I haven't seen a whole lot on these on the sort of the aftermarket, secondary market, pre-owned, etc. It's a cool pen. I really like it. Changing of the seasons. It's a nice melancholy topic, and there we are. So I hope this was useful. Okay, see you later. Bye.